Welcome, everyone. My name is Jed DeMule, and we're going to get started here very shortly on our Tech Talk, deploying an Amazon instance in about 10 minutes or less. We'll take a little longer to explain it all, but when you get this down, or once you've done this a couple times, you'll be able to deploy an instance in no time. It's really, really quick and easy. Okay, so let's do this real quick. We're going to give you, we're going to take less than an hour today, and we're going to go through how to set up and run your own Amazon Connect instance. And this is a really great way to explore Amazon Connect further. It's a really great way to evaluate Amazon Connect. I would also encourage you to use the chat window if you have any questions, or if you'd like to, I can, you can unmute your microphone and just simply ask the question. That's perfectly fine too. I do have the chat window open, so I'll be able to see your questions. So with no further ado, let's get started. Let's look at how to deploy an Amazon Connect instance. By the way, again, my name is Jed DeMule. I am the author of a course that Sunset Learning is currently offering, which is administrating and deploying Amazon Connect. So it's kind of my background. I'm not an Amazon instructor yet, but I'm in the process of becoming one. I have been in the call center industry for about 20 years. Let's take a peek here at Amazon Connect as a solution. So for those of you that may not be fully familiar with it, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but I want to give you just a brief overview of what Amazon Connect is. So when we talk about Amazon Connect, it is a cloud-based software as a service, or SaaS, a SaaS cloud-based contact center solution that can scale to enterprises of any size. You could use this in a small doctor's office, all the way up to a large insurance company or a large bank or whatever, right? This is the potentially, and this is potentially a contact solution that would fit any size. It is pay as you go. So you pay for what you use. There is no upfront cost, no servers to buy, no software to buy. Okay, you can spin up an Amazon Connect solution in about 10 minutes, even less potentially. Really, really quick and easy. So a couple things that it offers. It offers ACD skills-based routing. So when we talk about ACD skills-based routing, what that means is we have agents that can be categorized with certain skills, and then they can service queues that have those skills. So those of you that aren't super familiar with contact centers may not understand some of that, but the good example is a language. Like, and this is not the only example, but let's say that I'm multilingual. So I could be in the English queue. I could also be in the Spanish queue. Another employee might only speak one language. They'd only be in one skill group. We could apply this to, tech support, right? I might be tech support level 3, so I could also be in the level 2 and level 1 queues. So these are examples of what we mean by skills-based routing. We can record the calls. So we can record every single phone call in an Amazon Connect contact center. Okay, we have real-time and historical statistics. So if you want to understand what your business used to be like last year around like the holiday season, for example, I can go look at the records and I can see, and I can staff accordingly for the upcoming year. We also can look at real-time. So I can understand how many agents do I have right now? What's the longest call in queue right now? What's my average handle time? All those sorts of things can be obtained through those real-time and historical analytics. And then, of course, we have the ability to handle voice and chat. So this is this does not at this point support email, so just be aware of that. But right now it supports voice and chat for contact channels. So I can either call a person or I can chat with a person. So typically when I chat with a person, it's going to be that little pop-up that comes under my web page. It says, how can I assist you? Okay. So when these are the things, these are the big picture things that Amazon Connect can do. Now, one of the really great features of Amazon Connect is the ability to do dynamic contact flows. So when we say a dynamic contact flow, what we mean by that is I have a customer that starts off trying to contact my company, either through a phone call or through chat. And if we take a peek at that, I can see that as they go through here, I take their caller ID, or maybe they made them log in to the website and then we get the pop-up, so I could take their credentials that way. But I'm going to take their caller ID or some unique identifying feature, And I'm going to integrate that with a CRM, like let's say Salesforce, or it could be integrated with things like ServiceNow. There's lots and lots of possibilities here. Okay, and perhaps I do a database dip and I see that, wow, there's been a fraud alert on this person's credit card. Okay, so maybe we're a bank, they're calling us and we're a bank. So we do this database dip and we get context for the call. We can pretty much assume that this person is probably calling because their credit card's no longer working because it has a fraud hold on it. So I say, hi, Sue. I actually have an automated voice that says, hi, Sue. I see there's a fraud alert on your account. How can I help you? Okay, and then Sue can use speech recognition. We can use the same thing that powers Alexa to say, hey, I think my card was stolen. Can I get a new card? And we could say, okay, your new card should be received in 3 to 5 days. And Sue says, thank you, and hangs up. Right? We didn't even, in this particular example, didn't even have to invoke an agent, potentially. This could have all been automated, okay? And very natural for Sue to interact with as well. Now, that requires some work on the back end to make that automation be clean and feel natural, right? So it's more like a human interaction, right? We could obviously do kind of a quicker way of doing this, which would be, like menus and press 1 for this, press 2 for that. That's also certainly possible here. But we can use what's called chatbots to automate this. And that's one of the things that's great about Amazon Connect. In fact, that's my next slide here, is that we can take Amazon Connect and we can integrate it with all sorts of other Amazon AWS services, like Lexbot, that chat bot that we could use, or a voice and chat bot that we can use. Many other things. We can integrate it with a database in AWS. DynamoDB, for example, is a very common one. The call recordings go to an S3 bucket up here on the top as storage. So we can say, okay, well, we're a financial institution. I have to keep my records for 7 years by federal statute. So we're going to set our S3 bucket to keep maybe the first 6 months of records, and then we are going to put it over into, as an example, Glacier to manage our AWS costs, put it into cold storage. Glacier is what that is, which is much cheaper than an S3 bucket. So we can kind of make those evaluations, right? We can integrate with these other AWS services. And I can't emphasize enough, this is really one of the most compelling features of Amazon Connect. Okay, its ease of deployment is one of those really compelling features, and ease of use. And then on the back end, if we need to integrate with things, we have all sorts of options. Okay, we have Lambda functions that we can integrate with. Okay, and with the Lambda function, we can run Python code, JavaScript code, C# code, all sorts of other code. If we need to do something really custom, we're almost always going to invoke some Lambda functions in that process, right? We can use what's called Polly and Lex. I already mentioned the Lexbot in the previous example. Lexbots can do voice and chat interactions and automate them, and we can make them really intelligent, really natural, so that the person, like in a chatbot scenario, the person may not even know that that's a bot, that it's not a real person if we do it right. Right? It can be very, very good. In terms of speech recognition, we can use the same technology that powers Amazon Alexa. I should have muted mine in here now. Sorry, I forgot about that. I just said the keyword to wake her up. But we can automate, we can use that same technology to do the speech recognition that we use in Amazon Connect. There's many other things we can integrate with. There's log files that are going to go to CloudWatch for troubleshooting and for seeing what happened to a particular contact. There's Kinesis, and there's all sorts of other things for analytics. We can actually send our audio streams to Kinesis, and it can categorize how angry a customer is. And we can then go look at the recordings for the angry customers, things like that. There's some really beautiful, amazing things that we can integrate and build with this ecosystem that AWS has. So I really want to emphasize that is really one of the primary benefits of AWS. Okay, now that does require some work and customization. There is no doubt about that. Okay. So let's with no further ado, look at how do we get you guys a lab up and running? How can you have a lab up and running in less than 10 minutes so that you can start playing with this yourself, right? The easy way to do that, the first thing you have to do, and you may already have this, is you must have an AWS account. Okay, you must sign up for a free AWS account. Now, I do need to make sure you understand here. When you sign up for an AWS account, it is a legal contract, and you are saying any charges that are incurred, I am liable for. It is highly critical for you guys to secure your account. Do not just make an account with a default password. Let me tell you what will happen. Right, first off, Amazon will make you make a decent password. But if someone compromises your password, they can go spin up a whole bunch of EC2 instances and start bit mining, and you can get a bill in the many thousands of dollars at the end of the month if you're not careful. Okay, one of the things I always encourage you to do is set some alerts. There's some tools in AWS where you can set some alerts if your bill for the month exceeds a certain amount. So if I, go set it at $10 a month, which I can play around for free usually. But if I do set it for like $10 a month, I'm like, I'm just playing around and might got a bill for $10 already on the second day of the month. Something's not right, right? I can go shut it down, right? So I just want you guys to understand the consequences of creating an AWS account and make sure that you take it seriously in terms of legal liability for a bill if your credentials get hacked. Okay, so it is important to make that disclaimer up front. All right, so again, many free tiers exist. So for example, Amazon Connect has a free tier that's good for 12 months. And you can do up to 30 minutes of connected agent time a month. You get one free US phone number. If you're in the United States, you get a free DID number and one free toll-free number. Now, not all countries give you the toll-free number. That's really just in the North American numbering plan, which is Canada, the United States, some Caribbean. But I do want to let you know you at least get a DID. Okay, so this is supported in many countries around the world. There are some notable exceptions. India is not supported, and that's due to local laws in India. Their contact centers are highly regulated in India, and Amazon Connect has not really figured out how to work in that environment from a legal standpoint. So let's go through the process of creating an AWS account. And if you wanted to follow along, you certainly could. But again, just understand the legal ramifications of if your credentials get hacked, okay? And that is not an uncommon thing. So it's very important to protect yourself with setting some alerts, some billing alerts or some cost alerts. All right, so create an Amazon account. You go to aws.amazon.com and then you complete the sign up if you don't already have an account, okay? You are charged for the services used, okay? It's a legal contract. So the first thing you must do is create a root user. Now, the root user is one you want to highly protect, okay? Because the root user can do everything. It's like a root user on a Linux environment. It needs to be protected. So I'm going to create a root user, and then I'm going to create one or more what are called IAM accounts. And IAM accounts, these are the users you use on a day-to-day basis. The root user is like a backdoor, only use if I absolutely need it, like someone deleted my account, okay, and I need to go back and recreate, okay. And IAM users can have specific permissions or boundaries set on them so that they can only do certain things. And this is very flexible. Okay, it's strongly suggested you don't use the root user for day-to-day tasks. So let's start by making a root user. I'm going to say root user next. Okay, and I'm going to put in here my my information. So here's my information. I'm going to put in my information, and you can see that I live in Kirkland, Washington. And I'm going to come in here and notice the free tier is the free tier offers. There are 3 different types. There's an always free, never expires. That's not Amazon Connect, by the way. There's a 12 months free, which is Amazon Connect. And then there's a trial that starts from a certain activation date, like a 30, 90-day trial. Okay, Amazon Connect falls into the 12-month free category. It's not totally free. It's free within certain levels. If you exceed those free tier levels, you will be charged for what you go above that free tier. Just as a quick side note, just to give you an example of this, the DIDs are about $2 a month after the 12 months. So if you follow along with me today and create an AWS instance, please understand that a year from now, you'll start being charged at least the $2 DID fee per month. Okay, so just understand that. And then you can go delete it at any time before the 12 months is up if you don't want to keep it going indefinitely. Okay, I'm going to go to step number 2. I'm going to continue. I'm sorry, I'm on step number 2 right now. I'm going to put in my billing information. Now, you must provide a credit card. It is going to charge you $1 when you sign up, and it's going to hold that for 3 to 5 days to verify your identity to make sure there wasn't a fraud alert. Okay, you're going to put in your credentials, and then you're going to confirm your identity. And they're going to require you to put in either a voice call or a text message to your cell phone. So you're going to make sure that you put that in here. Now, I do want to point out one thing here I should mention to you. When you create an AWS account, you're going to need to put in an email address. That email address, once you use that for an AWS account, it can never be used for another AWS account. And you can never reuse it, even if you delete your AWS account. So if you're just doing like a trial, I would suggest you use like a personal account, at least initially, so that you could save your business account for if you decide to go production with anything, right? So you're going to go ahead and confirm and put in the code, okay? And then you have to select what tier, what support level you want. There is a free tier, which is just for users just getting started with AWS. That's what I would suggest initially. There's a $29 a month level for developer, and there's a $100 a month for business support. And you can read the details when you do this. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but for now, I would just suggest you select the basic tier. You can change at any point down the road. Okay, and then it's going to verify the email. And we're going to have to open the email up and click on a link, and it's going to confirm that we are good, right? And then it says, congratulations, you're activating the account, should be just available in a moment. So now I can click the button, or I can just go to aws.amazon.com and sign in. But I'm now going to see what's called the AWS Management Console. Now, the one thing about AWS that you need to know is things change quickly. This console has changed. There's been changes to this console like 3 times since November. So interfaces change frequently in AWS. So just get used to it. Just understand they're constantly trying to make everything better in AWS. Okay, so it's a double-edged sword. It means that you don't have to wait long for things to improve. The downside is things change on you quite frequently. So here, what we are going to do is in the console, and this is actually, this screen has changed since I wrote this, which is why I say this. You basically are going to search for IAM, okay? And this is the identity and access management. Now, the second part is you don't want to use your root account. So we're going to come in here and add a user. I'm just going to go through this fairly quickly. It's pretty intuitive. Give the user a username. You can add multiple users at the same time if you want to. We're going to select the type of access the user has. So there's web-based access, command line access, API access, and an HTTP API access. So this is the screen right here that shows you what you get. So when you check this box that's checked down here that says password AWS Management Console, it means they can go to the GUI, they can go to the website. If you check the one above, this enables all of the other things. This enables the AWS API, the command line, the SDK, and other development tools. Now notice it's not checked in this example. Okay, I'm not going to cover those tools here. That's more of an AWS thing, not an Amazon Connect. You guys are here for Amazon Connect. So I'm going to create my user. I'm going to set a password or auto-generate a password. I'm going to add the user to either a pre-existing group or create a new group or copy an existing user. In this case, we're going to create a new group called administrators. I'm going to set the permission on it to the policy as administrator access, which basically means I have all access. And I'm going to create some tags if I want to. tags allow me to, are allowed to be used in permission. So I can say anyone who has this tag is allowed to use this object in AWS. A little beyond what we're going to cover here in great detail. I'm going to create the user. I want to get to AWS or Amazon Connect here. So we're going to confirm the user creation. So now I've created my root user. I've created some IAM users. I'm now going to log in as the IAM user with the appropriate permissions, in this case, admin permissions. It could be more granular, but we'll just assume admin permission. So I log in. Okay, the three things I'm going to need to log in are the username and password and the account ID. Now, if you notice, I don't know if you saw back here, but in the email that it sends you when you create these user accounts will be the account ID. That's 12 digits. If I bring to the screen here, let me just bring something to this over to the screen and just show you this too. Give me 1 second here to make sure I have everything. All right, so down here, if you guys look on this particular web page right here, I'm logged into, if I go to the AWS console, okay, up in the upper right-hand corner when I'm logged in, it shows me that 12 digits. I can see the 12 digits up here in the upper right-hand corner, okay, and this is where I can see the account ID, right? And again, it's in the email that's going to be sent to the user when you create the user, you give their email address. Right, I just wanted to show you that. So here I'm going to go to services and I'm going to select Amazon Connect. Okay, and I can search for it as well. If I want to just type Amazon Connect in the search field up here at the top, I can do that as well. Okay, and I can see here that I don't have an instance. So I can simply come in here and click the Create Instance button. It asks me, there's going to be 5 steps. It's a little wizard that gives me 5 steps to figure out how I'm going to install this. So I have 3 choices for authentication. Now, not to go too deeply into this, but we have the easiest one, which is to store users in Amazon Connect. Now, it is important to note that you cannot change this after you make an instance. So it's important to understand what is the solution. If you're just doing a lab, I would suggest, or you're testing it out, choose the top one for sure. Store users in Amazon Connect. If you are actually going to deploy this, it's more likely that you'll probably use SAML 2. Or you can also link to an existing Active Directory or directory system, like a Microsoft Active Directory, for example. Or you can use a SAML-based authentication. So single sign-on is another way of saying that. Importantly, down at the bottom, you have to put in the name of your instance, and this has to be globally unique. Okay, so if someone else has picked a name, then you can't use it. Okay, so for example, I used Sunset Lab 1. You can use whatever you would like to do this. It could be your company name, it could be your name. The first instance I ever made was Jed's instance, is what I called it. But it does not matter. But this will be the URL to do administration from. Whatever you put here will be the URL you'll use to connect to your instance and configure it. So I select those options, a globally unique name. Okay, there is SAML-based authentication. I don't want to spend too much time here, but it's a single sign-on. You're going to a single sign-on solution that you probably already have existing in your enterprise. That's what this is saying. Okay, I'm going to add an administrator, step number 2. I'm going to add an administrator account. Now, you can always log in with the root user, okay, but that's meant for like an emergency. Okay, you're going to add an administrator, like good admin. Okay, I'm going to put an email. And again, it's going to send an invite to that email address, okay, with the information on how to log in to Amazon Connect, okay, which we're going to show you in just a moment. Step number 3 is I'm going to say, do I allow incoming and outgoing calls, or just incoming, or just outgoing? In most cases, you'll probably select both of these. Your agents will probably have in most scenarios, your agents will probably have the need to call people back or talk to people or follow up with them. Okay, so we usually allow both incoming and outgoing here. Now, a common question that occurs that I want to point out here real quick, this is not a PBX. This does not have PBX functionality. Now, what does that mean? It means there is no direct number to call these agents on. in order for like for example, my mom can't call me at when I'm working on Amazon Connect. She could call into the queue and maybe she'll get me, but there's no guarantee, right? There is no extension number for each agent. This is truly just an ACD, an automatic call distributor. That's what it's contact now, really. Automatic contact, because it could be chat as well. Well, the next step is step 4, and there's really nothing you usually need to do here other than just note that data will be encrypted and stored into the S3 bucket at this location. So notice that it has Connect Sunset Lab 1. If I go back here, I had Sunset Lab 1. That name directly impacts the name of the bucket, and S3 buckets must be globally unique, which is why this must be globally unique. If you don't know what an S3 bucket is, it's a place to store data. It's a container. It's a container that you can make folder structures in, but it's kind of like, think of it as a virtual hard drive. Okay, it's a hard drive that I can store data on effectively. Okay, there's going to be contact flows are going to be written. The logs are going to be written in CloudWatch at this location. Okay, so CloudWatch is where we store all of our log files. Log files are useful for troubleshooting, so that's a good thing to note. Okay, and at this point, I am ready to go. So I simply, in step 5, review everything I did and make sure it's okay and say go. And we get this blue bar across the screen while it creates our instance. This will probably, in most cases, take between 2 and 3 minutes. At the end of those 2 or 3 minutes, I have an instance up and running. Okay, and once we have that instance up and running, we can now go to it. In fact, I'm going to go show you my instance instead of showing you the slide here. Let's bring my browser back to the window. I'm going to go here to my Amazon Connect from the console. Okay, and I can see here that I have an instance called Sunset Lab. Now, if I were to come in here and click on this URL right here, or type it in manually, I'm now going to connect to my instance. Okay, and I can see here, if I go to my instance, I'm not sure why we're seeing that. This is what you'll normally see when you first log in right here. You will see what's called the dashboard. Let me take you on a quick little tour. So not only can we deploy an Amazon Connect instance in under 10 minutes, but we can also get a phone call going in under 10 minutes. Now, I'm actually using my phone camera right now, so I'm not going to be able to actually place a call, but I do want to show you what this is going to look like. So the very first thing you'll do is you'll get started here and you'll claim a phone number. Now, I've already claimed a phone number, and you can only claim, I think you can claim 2 phone numbers maximum. But the process, let me go through the process here. Let's pretend I don't have a number there. I can either select a toll-free number or a DID number. So I haven't claimed a toll-free number, so let's do that. I'm going to go claim a toll-free number here. I'm going to select the country that we're in. And by the way, note the supported countries are listed here. Okay, these do change periodically, so I don't want to, stay, but you'll notice like India, for example, is not here. Okay, it's not on here. And it gives you a choice of 5 toll-free numbers or 5 DIDs. It's the same if I were doing the DID option. And I can select which one I want. Okay, well, I'll take this top one, sure. Okay, and I can enter a description. It's going to be my toll-free number. And I can now specify, what do I want this to point to? I'm going to point to this sample inbound flow. Now, we haven't talked about contact flows yet, but I just want you to understand that a contact flow is is the logic. It's the business logic of our contact center. It determines what's going to happen to this call. So I'm going to go in here and I can save this and I will have a toll-free number. Now, I already have a DID number as an example, so I don't need to claim another one. If I go back to the dashboard, I can, again, go back to the view phone numbers and I can see I now have a phone number. And I can see that phone number right now is currently not pointed to anything. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to point that to the sample inbound flow and save it. All right. So now I can see that I have a phone number. Now I can actually go back to the dashboard now, and I can do what's called test chat. And I can see that it actually makes the admin an agent by default. So this is the admin. This is what the interface that the agents will use looks like in its own window. And I can see here, if I make myself available, I'm now available to now start taking calls or chats. If I go to chat, this is now simulating a customer, your website. Here's the pop-up. It says, hello, thanks for contacting us. You'll now be placed in queue to chat with an agent. And I can come in here and I can see that I'm now in queue to talk to an agent. Now, this agent must not be in the right queue at this point. I don't know if I want to get too deep into the configuration of this, but if we were to just try and fix this real quick, let me just go to my agents. Let's look at, oh, I'm currently logged in as myself. That's the problem. All right, so if I go into here, let me just fix this real quick. I'm going to add myself as an agent. I haven't covered this, so this is just going to be, let me go back to test now, and I should hopefully be available. Go back and look one more time at that agent. See if we can get this working real quick to kind of demonstrate this. Basic routing profile. That should work. Oh. Let's see what I can figure out here. So I did my contact, I should do my contact flow. That's the problem is. Okay, hang on. Let me change the phone number where it points to. That's my problem. So this is getting a little into the weeds. Sorry, I didn't mean to go into the weeds on you here, but let's just do this. We'll save this. And the agent, it should now work, hopefully. We'll just figure out what's going on here. At any rate, you can see that this is what should happen. I have something wrong in mind, but I want to show you real quick. What you would do is claim the dashboard, claim the number. This is what it would look like. You would basically get a call into here. If I were to able to call in on my phone right now, which I can't, I could actually make a phone call and answer it as the admin that we just created. The admin account is automatically configured to act as an agent using a soft phone, and we could then also do chat as well, okay, with the person. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Are there any questions or comments, or would you like to see anything else real quick? I'm happy to do a little demonstration of contact flows if you want to see that. Okay, I guess not a whole lot. Let me just do one last thing. I'll just show you really quick what contact flows look like. A couple words of warning I should mention real quick about the dashboard and the agent. The only supported browsers that you can use with the dashboard and agent are Firefox or Chrome. And it must be Chrome, by the way. You can't use like just a Chromium-based browser. For example, Microsoft Edge based on Chromium is not supported and will not work. Safari, if you're a Mac user, not supported. Okay, so it is Firefox or Chrome are the only supported browser. You'll get weird things happen otherwise. I'll take you on a real quick tour here since we have a little extra time. I'll take you on a real quick tour of the console, the management console here of Amazon Connect. So we start off with the dashboard. Common tasks are done here. This is sort of like the initial configuration wizard. I usually hide this and have just some dashboards up here. For my configured queues. I usually don't use the dashboard past the initial config. But with that being said, the one thing that I sometimes do use is the test chat, okay, which actually is both voice and chat testing. Okay, the other options I have over here is I have my, let's start with routing. I have routing, okay, this routing menu option on the left-hand side. And under here are my phone numbers. my contact flows. Let me just show you what a contact flow looks like. So if I look at a contact flow, this is logic that I'm going to build out in a drag and drop interface on what I want to have happen to this call. Let me do this. Let me do a little more simple one because it's a little overwhelming. Let's go to the sample. Let me see which one I want to look at here. Let's go to the sample inbound flow. This is kind of complicated too, but it basically says when a contact comes in, the first thing I do is I set a disconnect flow. Okay, now a disconnect flow says what happens at the end of the call. Okay, so this is pointing to another flow that's going to be used at the end of the call. And then I sort based on the type of contact. There are 3 types of contacts in Amazon Connect. There's what's called a task, a chat, and a voice. A task is like something that comes from like a CRM or a third-party application, like ServiceNow ticket or something like that. A chat is a chat from a pop-up window on a website, and voice is everything else in this particular case. So this would be the voice branch that I have highlighted right now. This would be the chat branch. So the chat says, the next thing the chat does is it says, play a prompt. And it says here, hello, thanks for contacting us. This is an example of what we can enable you to do. And we can put whatever text we want here. And because it knows it's chat, it just puts that in the chat window. Now, conversely, if I get a play prompt down here, it does the same thing, but in this case, it's going to say the words. It's going to use text to speech using the same technology that runs Alexa to do this. All right, so this is going to allow us to, to really have common, these are called blocks, common blocks that allow us to take logic and build our logic out. And these blocks can be used for both voice and chat. Even though it says play prompt, if we were to rename this accurately, it would be either write or play prompt. That would be what it would be. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of other things here where we transfer to other scripts, other contact flows. Okay. And so then we are going to come in here and say, play prompt, play another prompt, sorry, we're having an error. So if there's an error of some sort, we tell them we're having an error and we disconnect the call. And then the disconnect flow would take effect because the disconnect flow was set up here at the beginning. Right, so this is an example of a contact flow. This is where I write my logic. If I were to make a new one, right, if I were to come in here and go to contact flows, and I want to make a new contact flow, I can do that by coming into here and I can, say play a prompt. And I can then come in here and I can say set the working queue, which means that who's going to answer the call. And then I'm going to transfer the working queue. I'm sorry, we're going to transfer down here, transfer the queue. So this is like one of the simplest scripts you could write. It says, I could come in here and hook the line together. I can take the success and go to here. And then I'm going to have to do something at the end. I mean, this is not best practice at this point. Okay, so please understand it's not best practice, but I could take all of the error conditions and take them to a disconnect. Now, normally I'd play at least play a message when I'm done saying, I'm sorry, we've had an error, please call back later. At the very least, right? I would do something like that. Okay, but this is how I can simply make a queue, and I can say, okay, this is going to say text to speech. I'm going to say, hello world. Okay, and I'm going to set the working queue. I have some queues I've already made on here. I'm going to set it to shark repellent sales, and we're going to transfer to the queue that was set. All right, so we're simply going to say, well, hello world, and transfer to the queue for shark repellent. Very, very simple contact flow. You can make these very quickly and easily. Now, there is a lot to contact flows. There is a lot of potential integrations and things that you must do. So this is not always so simple, but it's simpler than most other contact center solutions by far. All right, so that is pretty much what I have for you today. I do want to mention one thing. We do have the ACAC class the administrating and configuring Amazon Connect class that we do offer. It is a 3-day class that covers everything we've covered here, plus much, much more. We go into not only deploying and setting up your own instance of Amazon Connect, which we provide a lab for that as well. So you can either set up your own or use your own lab, whichever you prefer. We do all sorts of contact flows, tons of contact flows. We build Lex bots. We build Lambda functions that go to databases and get information about the caller. We do reporting labs. We do troubleshooting labs. It's a really, really great class. We just are rolling it out right now. We're having our first public class this month. I believe it is the 20, let me look at the calendar real quick, make sure I get the dates right. It is the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of this month. And so I want to thank you guys for your time here. If there are any questions, please, please, please ask them. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have in the time we have left. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.